Bassett, and today I'm going to show you how you can use your ScanNCut to create this cute little breakfast for back to school. Let's start off by making that flag that can go in a muffin or a cupcake or whatever you can think of.
I created some free cut files for these projects, and you can download them at this link. Okay, so to get started, I went ahead and put my vinyl pieces up here at the top of my mat, and then my paper pieces down here at the bottom of my mat. And I'm using the standard mat for my ScanNCut. Now, this coincides with the download that you downloaded, the free cut files. But we're going to cut these out separately because they're different materials. So the blade's going to be different thicknesses. For our vinyl, we want it to cut through just through that top layer of color, but not through the backing that's on there. And that'll allow us to make a nice transfer. And then we're going to, cut out the paper as well. So let's get started. Let's go to our ScanNCut. And the first thing I'm going to do is load my mat in. So I'm going to rest it right against these little bumpers right here, and then hit the mat button, and that loads it in. Okay, so I sent it over to my ScanNCut DX via the wireless internet. And so I'm going to hit retrieve data. And again, I did it wirelessly. If you used it another way to download that cut file, you'll pick whichever way you did. Okay, so let's start off by doing the vinyl cuts right here. So first I'm going to go into edit, and I'm going to hit that select box. And this will allow me to select however I want to on my page. So I am going to hit this one, which will allow me to crop it down to what parts I want to select. I'm going to hit OK and double check everything's selected at the bottom portion. OK. And now I'm going to hit that trash can to delete it. Now this just temporarily deletes it so that we can work with those vinyl files first. Okay. Now, as you remember, I have my green there and my red there, but we want to be able to scan this. So go ahead and hit that scan button, and that's going to allow us to make sure our placement is exact. So go ahead and hit start. Okay, so now we can see that our colors are right there, and I'm going to zoom in to make sure that they are placed exactly where we need it. Okay, so we're going to click on Edit, and this magnifying glass up in the corner that lets us zoom in, so let's click on that. So we can see they're kind of butted up to the left of each of these, so I'm just going to use my stylus and move them more in the center, just so I feel a little bit better about it. Oops. Let's see, that one looks good. And this one looks pretty good too. Okay, so it looks like we're good there. We're going to click OK. And OK. OK. And then select Cut. And remember, we only want to cut through that top layer. So we need to go into this little wrench right here. Scroll down to the bottom, and where it says half cut, make sure it is turned on. I was cutting vinyl previously, so I'm good to go. I'm going to click OK and start. Now, if you have never cut vinyl before, I recommend you doing a test cut first to make sure everything's set correctly on your machine. Now, we are using the auto blade for this, and that just means that this is going to self-adjust. It will go ahead and see the correct depth for cutting no matter what type of material I put in. So it really takes all the guesswork out of it, takes out the frustration. So to insert that, if you're not familiar, you just stick it in and close that little lever. So brother should be facing out towards the front. And now we're ready to go ahead and hit start. Okay, so it's finished. We'll click OK, and we can remove these off of here. So I'm just going to peel those off, and we'll deal with them later. Okay, so let's insert our mat back in because we have those paper pieces to cut out. Okay, so now we're ready to cut out these paper pieces that are at the bottom. So we're going to hit the home button and delete everything. It's like a fresh start. And then retrieve the data again. Remember how you retrieved it the first time. It's the same way. And now we're going to select the top ones that we just cut and get rid of those. So you can click on Edit and those three little red boxes. And again, select just those top ones. Click OK, OK, and delete. OK. Okay, so now we have all those bottom ones that we want to cut out. But again, we want to make sure we have the correct placement. So hit OK, and then you're going to hit that scan button one more time. Okay, so we can see there's our little pieces, and you can see that they're not lined up very well. So again, we're going to click Edit, grab your stylus, and click on that magnifying glass. And we are all the way at the bottom, so use that bottom arrow to scroll on down. And there it is. So we can move this up here. And you know what? If you ever need to use the nudge buttons right here instead of dragging it, if you can't get good placement, use those nudge buttons. That really helps. So here's this one. In fact, I'll just nudge it up. Make sure it's more in the center of that. We'll nudge it over a little bit this way too. Okay, and then this apple is not at all on there. Okay, I think that's all good. Now, if you wanted to zoom even more, you can hit that other magnifying glass, and then it'll zoom in even deeper into where you're working. So we can see those are lined up perfectly. Okay, so we'll hit OK, and OK, and OK, and then again we're going to select Cut, but this time we need to take that half cut off. So go into your wrench, scroll down to the bottom, half cut off. Okay. Okay, so before you hit start, double check that all your pieces of paper are smoothed on there. And we'll hit start. Hit OK and unload, and let's go to our table. Okay, so I'm going to start off by taking a little alcohol wipe and wiping off the front of my mug. And that'll just get rid of any oils and dirts. Okay. Now you want to use something to prop up that handle so that you can get it on the front of it. First thing I'm going to do is weed off my vinyl. For this, I'm just taking off the negative parts. Now, technically, with this design, you could do the reverse and take out the positive parts. Okay, so I'm going to put this transfer tape right over it. And I'll line this up towards the bottom. And you just want to use your spatula to go over that. That way it'll pick up all those little centers of the letters. Okay. So if anything doesn't stick, put it back down and rub it. Okay, so we got that, and now we need our stem. Now I'm going to have it going a little crooked. Let's see. Okay, so now let's put it onto our mug. Okay, so one of the pitfalls of this mug in particular is it narrows down towards the bottom. So I want my design to be towards the top where it's more like a block for me to just set this right on there. So that's what I'm going to do. And another thing is, so you don't get air bubbles underneath, to start with the middle part and lay that part down and then smooth out the sides. Okay, so I got it on there pretty flat. I have a little bit of buckling right here that I'm going to have to play around with, and that's just because this tapers down at the bottom. So the more uniform of a base that you can put this on, the better for you. So I'm just going to carefully take this off, and then I might have to do finagling down here at the bottom. So before you take it off though, you do want to use either your spatula or your nails to just go over that again. And that'll make it stick to your mug. Okay, so then just slowly peel it off. And again, if you have any parts that stick to your mug, you want to rub them again. Okay, so we got that on there, and looks like this needs to be fixed a little. Okay, so if you have any parts like this at the bottom, like I do, you just want to be able to get it on there with some of it probably overlapping. Let me peel this down a little bit. Okay, so sometimes it's helpful on anything like this where you need it to be flat to just snip right there and have these overlap. And it should be fine. You might have a little smidge that you need to trim off, but it really helps it to lay flat on there. Any little buckles, you can just cut right through. Okay, so that is our finished mug. Okay, so let's work on our little flag now. Okay, so you just want to carefully take this off of there so that all those insides of the letters don't get lost, because we'll need those. But for now, I'm just going to put them aside. Okay, so we have our little pieces right here. Now you can go ahead and add some details to your flag before you glue it. That's a lot easier than when the stick's in there. But I'm just going to show you how to put it together once you have it all set. So I'm going to start off with taking some adhesive, turning this over. So I'm using a dry adhesive as well as a wet adhesive. So you just want to be careful to only, get around the little edges right here. You want it to stick on there but not ooze out. So I'm just using very little. A glue stick would work great for this as well. Okay, so I think I got some glue on there. And now take your white piece and you want to line up those points first. And then just press it on there. Okay, so it's showing through. And then we can just put some adhesive on here. And then just fold it. There's a little score mark right there, if you can see it, and just fold it right over. But before we do, we want to put our stick in there. So I'm just using a cake pop stick that I got from the store. So make sure you have adhesive there, like I have, and stick your cake pop in there, and then fold it right over. Okay, so we have that, and now we just need to add our little apple and the centers of those letters. Okay, so to make our cute little sign right here, this is what you're going to need. You're going to need a tan piece of paper about 8 inches by 5 inches, a red piece of paper that's about 8 inches by 3 inches, a yellow piece that is about 6.5 by 4 inches, and the orange piece is 4 inches by 5.25 inches. And then this blue piece is 3.25 by 6.75, so almost 7 inches. And then this little gray piece is 1.5 by 2 inches, and the green is about a 1.5 inch square. Okay, so those are the pieces you need. You can put them all on here to make it for an easy cutting. And then make sure you go into ScanNCut Canvas Workspace and download the images that you need. And here is how you do that.
So you're going to open up ScanNCut Canvas Workspace and then click on that little icon that says Canvas Projects. And in the search bar, you're going to type in school and see what pops up. So right now, there's only these 2 projects, so you'll click on that back to school card one. And as you can see, we're using all these pieces except for that envelope. So you're going to need to download all 3 of those. Or if you don't want the last one with the stars on it, you don't have to do that one. But go ahead and download all those and it will put it onto your mat. And then you just need to rearrange them however you want. I like to keep the same colors together that I plan on cutting out. That way it'll correlate with what we've just put down on our mat. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and send that over to your ScanNCut by going up to your File menu and then going down to where it says Transfer FCM File via the Internet, and go ahead and click on that. And then just go ahead and click OK.
Okay, so now let's go ahead and insert this in the machine and get cutting. Okay, so I'm just going to insert this again right between these 2 bumpers and load mat. Okay, so click on Retrieve Data, and we're doing it wirelessly. If you, again, downloaded those another way, you choose which one. And now we need to see if these are all in the right place. So hit that scan button, and it'll scan in your mat. Okay, so let's grab our stylus and zoom in so that we can make sure everything is in the correct place. So we're going to go to Edit and then click that little magnifying glass.
Then go ahead and select and then drag all the patterns into place. And when you got them all situated, tap on OK.
Okay, so once everything is placed how you want, click OK, and then OK, OK, and we are going to cut. And for your half cut, you want it off. So if you've been cutting vinyl, make sure you turn it back to off, click OK, and then you're going to hit start. Okay, so we're ready to get started on assembling this together, and you can change the layout around too. So that's a fun thing about this project. So of course we're going to start off first with this, okay? And use whatever adhesive you prefer. I'm going to use some wet adhesive, and I'm just going to start off by putting these points on there. Okay, and you can choose which colors you want to do first. As you can see, I added a little bit of inking around each of these pencils, so you can do that as well. I also added some dashes around that star. So anything you want to do to jazz this up, feel free to go right ahead and do. So I'm just going to glue all those pieces on and show you my finished results. Okay, so here's the first one I made, and here's the second one. For more information about ScanNCut, visit ScanNCut.com. And for more ideas and inspiration, visit erinbassett.com.